Minister, I want to join with other members in welcoming you to the House and wish you very well in your new role. I do look forward to working with you, Minister. Notwithstanding the changes that you have announced, Minister, in your U-turn today, I feel the bill leaves us with more questions than answers. I do hope that the Minister will be in a position to reply to these questions that I am sure other members in this House will have also. Minister, it would seem, with no public notice, you might confirm if that was the case or not, that you brought the statutory instrument SI 24220 on the 12th of July of this year forward. This instrument changed the rules of the COVID-19 PUP payment for other unemployed payments and other unemployment payments, meaning that recipients could not take holidays abroad. Previously, as you are well aware, Minister, they were allowed 2 weeks in any calendar year for a holiday without losing entitlement to job seekers' benefit. I appreciate that you have now changed your mind on this and are allowing those on these payments to travel to destinations on the green list. You might confirm that those on both PUP payments and job seekers will lose their entitlement if they are travelling to countries not on the green list. I am aware, as I am sure you are, of those travelling on compassionate grounds, for example, to non-green list countries. How will they be treated, Minister? Again, I ask you to confirm the changes and explain the list that you mentioned in relation to essential reasons. Have you a list of these essential reasons, Minister? It has been confirmed to us that some 2,000 individuals have had their payments stopped in the recent months, with some 104 individuals having their PUP payments stopped in the last 2 weeks following checks at airports. I listened to the Minister for Education and Skills on Northern Ireland yesterday, confirming after questioning that this statutory instrument was not discussed at Cabinet, which in the main, I am informed, is not unusual, but could the Minister confirm was the advice of the Attorney-General sought? This is particularly important given that FLAC and a number of non-government organisations have questioned the legality of this measure. Indeed, one question that the Chief Executive of FLAC, Eilish Barry, has asked is that some clarity, Minister, around a person who has to self-isolate, again through no fault of their own, and how they will be treated as regards generally seeking employment. You might come back to us and answer that one, Minister. Minister, I am sure, like so many other members, I have been contacted here by citizens in this state who are really worried about what is going on in this country. Many have booked holidays last year when they were in employment. Many have never been in receipt of social welfare payments in their lives. Yet now, because of no fault of their own, because of a worldwide pandemic, their payment could and most probably will be affected by this bill if their much-needed holiday to a country is not on a green list. You will be aware that the Data Protection Commissioner has asked the Department how it is getting its data to block benefits payments. There are also so many questions outstanding, Minister. Notwithstanding what you have said in your opening address, we are left with some key questions. Among questions asked by my colleague Sean Sherlock TD last night in the Dáil, I would like to put to you again some of those questions today. As this is a statutory instrument based on the advice from another department, is the travel ban legal? Did the Attorney-General sign off on this? Is there a change in the conditions that apply to the pandemic unemployment payment? Must people be actively seeking work since Monday when the website was changed? Was this decided at Cabinet? Is this a new regulation? From where are the data being used to stop people coming? What are the reasonable grounds that apply, and why are people being stopped in airports not being told it is for social welfare purposes? Of course, Minister, this latest mess was compounded by the Taoiseach on the Week in Politics when he said those on the PUP payment must be actively seeking work. This seemingly followed a change on the government website, which the Taoiseach has now said he will launch an investigation into. There now seems to be, from stories we are all hearing around the country, that there is a general screening going on people leaving this country. Minister, you might confirm if this is the case today. I mentioned the case of a family who had their child benefit stopped, as told on RTE Liveline yesterday. Surely, Minister, this shows an excessive intervention by the state at this very difficult time for all in our country. Minister, can you explain to me how a bar person who has worked in the trade for, say, over 30 years since leaving school is now expected to be generally seeking work? That person is out of employment due, as I have said previously, to no fault of their own. The PUP payment was in fact a supplementary welfare payment under the 2005 Act. That is, if passed through this House, will give the PUP payment its own statutory basis. This new bill requires that a recipient must be genuinely seeking employment. The bar person I refer to knows no other trade. That person, like so many others, cannot work at this time. That bar person has never been in receipt of social welfare in their life, again like so many other citizens. Minister, we are still in the middle of a pandemic. How can government introduce a bill that contains such a heavy demand on workers who have never known unemployment in their lives that they should now be genuinely seeking work? It just does not make sense in the middle of a worldwide pandemic that this bill contains such a demand. If I could speak just again to certain sections, we acknowledge that Section 6 provides that some of the expenditure incurred to date on the PUP, which has been paid as a supplementary allowance or urgent needs payment, may be charged to the Social Insurance Fund. What is the monetary implication of this measure to the Social Insurance Fund, Minister? There has been a lot of talk around these houses, and rightly so, about reducing the pension age. What are the further implications for doing this by government using the Social Insurance Fund for this payment? Is this a raid on cash to avoid raising taxes or borrowing? Does this risk destabilise the already weakened fund? Is this a retrospective through this supplementary welfare allowance? If so, is this kind of retrospective legislation constitutional, Minister? I again seek your clarity on this point. There was said to be a hefty surplus in this fund, which has been identified, as I've said, as a source of funding to allow for the delay in raising the pension entitlement or reducing the pension entitlement age. Will this window of opportunity now be closed, Minister? Section 6 provides that some of the expenditure incurred to date on the PUP payment has been paid on a special welfare allowance or urgent needs payment may be charged again to the Social Insurance Fund. That is worth repeating. There is no link, however, between social insurance contributions and eligibility for the PUP payment. Students, for example, would not have sufficient PRSI contributions recorded. Depleting the Social Insurance Fund surplus, especially when it likes to come under pressure to pay for insolvency and redundancy payments, does not seem to be sound public policy. Section 9 is a technical amendment which formally identifies the new COVID-19 PUP payment as a social insurance benefit within the Social Welfare Code. If the PUP becomes a social welfare entitlement based on payment of social insurance, will that change the situation for people travelling abroad? I know you have addressed that in some way today, Minister. Again, I ask you to clarify if people travelling abroad to seek work or to visit family for sound medical reasons within the common travel area can be denied a social insurance-related entitlement. As time goes on, there may be an increased number of people on the PUP payment going abroad to seek work. Their entitlement to a stable income needs to be secured, Minister. Just two issues to finish with, Minister. An appeal mechanism for the PUP payment, is that included in the bill, and what mechanism is allowed for those that in January need to appeal the non-payment of the PUP payment? And also, Minister, I just want to raise the Debenham workers and put on record my support for their rightful demand. Thank you very much.
Senator. I now